My name is Alicia All. I'm founder of Level Up Score, and I'm really excited for you to be here today. As always, on Tuesday Top Tips, and hopefully I am presenting information that's valuable to you to help you grow and scale your business. So today I am saying that you're doing it the wrong way. We're going to talk about that. We're going to explore that. What does that mean? And really what I'm trying to say here is you're focusing on the wrong thing. And so just want to go over that with you as we go through this content together. What does that actually mean? You're focusing on the wrong thing. And so, what I like to say here is your clients don't want credit repair. They actually want the house. They want the dream. They want all those things, but not credit repair. So we're going to go over that together. All right. So let me go ahead and dive into this together with you. Let's start here. It's about how to lead with the goal instead of the credit report. And I'm going to talk to you exactly what I mean by this very specifically, okay? Because I want you to understand that when we lead with a credit report, we've already put ourselves third place in line. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. So we're going to talk about that and how you can completely change your positioning in the industry by focusing on the goal instead of focusing on their credit report. So let's go ahead and I'm going to change my screen view here, and I'm hoping that it'll change it the way I want. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So right now, most credit professionals are operating in a way that I believe is putting them third in line. So they're looked at as last place. They're only there because they're needed, if they're even needed, right? Opposed to being an asset to the consumer. And so we're going to talk about that. So if you've ever felt like loan officers get all the credit for all the work that you do, right? Or maybe the client doesn't value what you do. They're not paying you, they're charging back, things like that. Or you're constantly chasing them for that engagement. It may be the way that you're focusing on the situation, what you're actually doing. So we're going to talk about that and dive in on what I mean by that. So here we go. The truth. They don't want credit repair. They want the outcome. We all know that. We've been talking about this for a while. They don't want credit repair. They want the outcome. What do they get? What's the outcome? They want to buy the house. They want to buy the car. They want their PG business funding. They want to have optimized credit so they can get out of the debt, right? Those are things they want. Those are things they're going to sleep wanting. Those are things they're waking up wanting. Those are things that maybe are preventing them from even getting out of bed because they don't have those things that they want. But they're certainly not thinking, I want credit repair today, right? We all know that. Nobody wants credit repair. Nobody wants to have credit repair. We may need it, and that's the difference. So let me say this clearly. Nobody wakes up wanting credit repair, okay? They want the house. They want the car. They want the PG funding. They want the approval. But credit is just that bridge. Oftentimes it is the bridge or the gap, right? It's the thing that's going to help them get to where they want to go. But if you lead with the bridge instead of with the outcome, where the bridge takes them, you're going to lose that emotional buy-in. We're going to explain to you what that means, but you're going to lose it immediately if you start that way. So let me give you a little story. I was just talking to a loan officer the other day, and he said something that stuck with me. It's something that I probably said a million times, but he said it a different way, and it really stuck with me. And I'm going to say it to you the way that he said it to me. He says, clients come to me excited. Think about this for a second. Clients come to the loan officer excited. And he said, but they go to you confused. They go to you angry. They go to you sad, but they come to me excited. Now, if you just think about that for a moment, really dive into what that looks like. Okay, if a client comes to a loan officer excited, and then the loan officer says, I can't do it, and they come to you, they're sad, angry, they're emotional in a negative way, you have to understand that they're in that position. And then you start with the credit report. You start with the problem. Because we think if we throw up on them, oh, you have a problem, there's a big problem, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem, that we're going to get them to entice them to want to work with us because we're showing them how big their problem is. Their problem can't get any bigger than the fact that they got denied for the loan that they wanted. They found the house. They found the house. They're excited. They're geared up to go. They know they're going to get it. Maybe they know they have the funding to be able to do it. They just need the loan. And they go to the loan officer thinking they're going to get approved and they're going to get the house they've been dying to get. They're excited. They're excited. And then the loan officer said, I'm sorry, I can't get you approved. Now think about that for a second. So if you ever see me on stage, I talk about this story a lot because I think it matters for us. But it's almost like A consumer runs up the stairs to the top of the building. They're excited, excited, excited. They go to the loan officer. They found the house. They're excited. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And the loan officer goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You can't get it approved." And it's like the loan officer pushed them off of that tall building. So emotions are high, positive excitement, pushed off negative. They feel like, oh, and they're just in dread, right? Despair. They're sad. They're angry. Whatever those feelings are that they're having, it's not good. So they go up high with high positive emotions, down low with negative emotions. And then if they have a really great loan officer, the loaner's like, "Hey, you know what? I partnered with a really great borrower readiness partner." Okay. And so they send that person to you. So they kind of lifted that person back up. The person climbs back up on the top of okay, there's a possibility I can still have this home. I get to have this conversation with this borrower readiness partner. And then they come to you and you say, "Hey, let's look at your credit report." And then you look at their credit report and you're scrolling through it and scrolling through it. And you're like, "Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad." Think about that for a second. How do you think they feel? They already got thrown off when they got the denial. And you're just like pouring it on them. You're just like pouring it on them. And you think this is a good thing. So that really stuck with me in a lot of ways when he said, they're excited to come with me. They're confused, sad, and angry when they come to you. So now I have to look at that in a couple ways. How can I bring back that excitement that got them to call the loan officer, that got them to want to work with the loan officer? How do I bring that excitement back? But how also should I look at this in terms of their emotional well-being right now in the moment? They're just denied. They're sad. They're angry. They're depressed. They're going through whatever those emotions are. They're not great. And then I'm going to pour some gas on it? Or should I be comforting? Should I be helping lift up their spirit, showing them there's hope and there's a possibility, right? And I think that we all try to do that, but we're doing it in the wrong way. We're focusing on the negatives first, because almost like we have to tear them back down some more to get them to realize they need you. And I don't believe that's the answer to this, okay? I don't believe that's the answer, because then what if you don't deliver in a short period of time, by the way? And then now they think, oh, this person's horrible. Not only did they pour this gasoline on me, make me feel bad, but now they can't even fix the problem, right? And so kind of think about that for a second. So here's what I got from that. They come to the loan officer with a dream, and then they get sent to you as a problem, right? And so before you even open your mouth, you've already in position 3 in this scenario, right? They found the house. Maybe they're working with the realtor. The loan officer says, no, you're in position 3. You're the fixer, the problem solver. So how can we change that? What does that look like? So let's talk about that. Let's dive into that a little bit. So why you're third in line? We really need to understand this. We're third in line almost always. It's very rare that someone just comes to a credit professional before they ever see a loan officer or real estate agent, unless they absolutely know they already have a problem. They've been told before. So the line usually happens that loan officer has the dream, the realtor has the vision, and the credit professional is the problem fixer, right? And so that's kind of the line that you go in. So you're already third in line. This is the stack. Like it or not, this is the stack, right? Now, if you get savvy and you become a goal strategist or a financial coach or a trusted advisor, people come to me before this happens, before they feel like I'm the fixer, right? I'm the solution person to help them get all the things that they need. But most of us are looked at as a problem fixer, right? And so we're third in line. So loan officers sell the possibility, the realtor sells the lifestyle, and then you're introduced as the problem fixer or the obstacle solver, right? So what we have to think about, how do your clients feel when they get to you? Again, what I said to the loan officer said to me, the clients come to you confused, mad, angry, sad, right? Not excited, not hopeful. All of those things they got here with the loan officer and real estate agent, right? We have to know that that's true in order to do a really good job. So they come to you with pressure. They come to you with confusion. They come to you with resistance. They come to you feeling like maybe it's not even hopeful for them. They come to you with all of that. And then you wonder why they ghost you after you pour gasoline on all of that. They don't want to talk to you. You didn't make them feel good. You didn't make them feel good. People don't want to talk to people that don't make them feel good, right? Think about yourself. If you went to a personal trainer, you need to lose 10 pounds, right? And then the personal trainer goes, man, Mm-mm. That weight on that scale, the way you eat, you don't even lift, you're up all night drinking what? And just starts pouring that on you. Have you ever been to a personal trainer who talks like that? I doubt it, because I think they're smart enough that if you did that to a client, you're like, man, ugh, gross. What you're doing is gross. That person's never going to come back. You just made them feel like crap. So why do we think we need to do that in sales with credit? That we just continue to pour on the gas and make them feel like crap. Why don't we uplift them and make them feel great, make them feel hopeful, give them something of value in that way? So here's the shift that I want to show you. And I'm going to zoom in on this shift for a second, just because I want you to get this. The real role. You are not a credit repair company. You are a goal strategist. You're not fixing credit. You're engineering the outcome. You're engineering the outcome. So let's think about that. You're the person who takes this client and says, I want to buy a home. You're that person that gets to take that client from that loan officer and turns it into exactly how to make that happen. You're the hope. They already got thrown down off that ledge, right? You're the hope to help them beyond that, right? If you do it right. And that's a completely different reality. Okay. That's a completely different reality. So let's look at that in a wider lens. Let's look at what that looks like. This is the psychology of buying. Now, I'm going to zoom in again on this because I want you to get this. The psychology of buying, we already know it's scientifically proven. People buy, number one, by emotion, number two, certainty, and number three, speed. And you can test me on that and just watch what your clients ask you questions about when you're doing a consultation, right? These are the things that are the psychology of buying. Okay, so if we know that, and let's say it is absolute fact that people buy with emotion and then certainty and then speed, why are we going over the credit report in a consultation? Why? Do you know I don't go over credit reports when I consult with someone on credit? I go over the goal. I go over the fact that I have proven track record of helping people get from where they're at to that goal, right? Because I have a specialty. I'm a first-time homebuyer specialist, really, really good at it, and you are too. If that's what if you're going to be an expert in that, you will get really, really good at it if you're not already, right? And so if that's true, we don't need to go down that credit report. I don't go down that credit report. Why? We already know there's a problem. They got denied. Great. Yay. Let's go. Right? So why don't we look at the psychology of buying and realize that they buy on emotion, which is their goal. They buy their goal. They buy the thing that's keeping them up at night, that they lay their pillow down, that they're dreaming about, that thing that got them to go to the loan officer because they found the house. Right? That's what they're buying. So why don't we start there? Why don't we start there? Think about that for a second. People don't buy logic. They buy emotion. And then when the emotion is there, now they'll justify it with logic. And that's where I like to say that it comes in the certainty and the speed. Okay. So we're buying on emotion. We've set the goal. We've helped them define the goal. We've helped them understand the pain points of not reaching that goal. Why do you want this goal? What does this mean to you? What does this really look like? What's your time frame, right? And if we start today and we can meet your time frame, is that better than starting tomorrow and not meeting your time frame? Like those types of questions, right? Why are we diving into really learning how to ask questions and help people develop emotion around their goal instead of going over all the problems and throwing up on them, right? Then the next part is logic. Okay, got my goal. I'm clear on it. I know this is really important to me. Now what? Okay, certainty is we've got to figure out what the gap is from where you're at to where you want to go. So we're going to figure that out, and then we're going to present a plan based on that. Here's where you're at. Here's where you're going to go. This is the gap. Here's the plan that's going to get you there. And here is the timeline in which it could be accomplished. Now we're in logic, right? These are things that are important to them. They do want the plan. They do want the timeline. They want to be certain that there is hope that they can do it and that you can do it, right? A lot of us hang our hat on the fact that we like, oh, I got a plan. I know if you follow the plan, you're going to get there. Okay, great. You know that, but then you also have to instill in them in this certainty part. that they have it within them to be able to do it. That's helping them with a mind shift, a mindset shift, possibly, because they might not feel that they're capable. They might know that you're capable of helping them. You may have already presented that in your material, but they might not believe that they can do it. So how do you inject that as well? And so that would be number 2. And then speed, obviously, when and how can we get this done? Really important parts of the process. So this is very different than going with all the negatives. So I'm going to show you the wrong way of doing this, what I call the wrong way, and then what the right way is. So let's dive into that. Okay, the wrong way. You say this right off the bat. Let's go over your negatives, right? Get me your credit report. Let me review your credit report with you. Let's go over the negatives. That's the wrong way. But this is what most consultations sound like. I'm going to dumb it down. I'm going to simplify it, but this is how it usually goes. It goes something like this. You have 3 collections. You have 2 charge-offs. Your utilization is really high. You don't have enough credit. And the client is thinking, great. I already knew I had a problem. Thank you very much. I just got denied. I'm very clear that I have a problem. I don't think we need to throw up on them of all the reasons they got denied, right? Not at this stage. Definitely not at this stage. This is the stage where we're building them up, right? But this is what most consultations go, right? Right from the beginning. Here we are. We're going right into negatives. And you just reinforce the pain without anchoring the solution. We want them to understand the joy and the beauty of getting to their goal and what that pain might look like if they don't go and get that goal. But we certainly don't want to throw up on them all the mistakes they've made all their life, right? They already know. They already know. They don't need you to tell them again. So that would be what I would call the wrong way. So let's look at if that's the wrong way, what's the right way? We all want to know what the right way is. We know the wrong way. Okay, so the right way. And why is I'm like all over the place with my notes, and I do not want to be all over the place because I have strategy here. So let me get back to my notes. Okay, so the right way is we're going to start with our goal, right? This is reverse engineering. We start with the goal. So instead of us saying, hey, let's look at your credit report, we might flip and say, what are you hoping to do? What is your goal? You know, why does this matter to you? Really, why does this matter to you? Like, let them get deep in this. Let them get emotional about it, right? This is an important part of the process. And, you know, we always want to know in the stage, like how important is this in your timeline? Is this important for you to have a year from now? Or is this important for you to have in a couple months from now? What are we looking at here? So allowing them to really dive in and start to fill their own needs and their dreams and their desires and let them dream. Give them that space because most people have never given them that space. And people buy from people who they feel good being with, right? And so if I start the conversation going on all the negatives, they already know that something's wrong. They already know. And I go through that, I didn't make them feel better about themselves, right? But when I stop and listen to them and I get engaged with what their goal is and I help them define it and I ask questions and they get to answer those questions and get deeper and deeper into what they want. Now they feel heard, which most people don't get that opportunity. Most people don't get the opportunity to talk about their dreams. And certainly sometimes people have the opportunity to talk about their dreams, but the person on the other side doesn't have belief that they could do it either. And so it actually hurts them more talking about their dreams. So a lot of times people reserve, but they have this privilege, an invitation from you to talk about their goal. What a gift that you can give them. And the gift of hope that this is a possibility for you. Opposed to maybe their family's telling them, hey, you'll never be able to do that. Not you, right? You're giving them a huge gift, and people buy from people they feel good to be around. If I say I'm going to coach you and I just made you feel really bad, do you ever want me to coach you again? Right? And I think I'll go back to the personal trainer. If you came into a personal trainer and you said, I need to lose 10 pounds, and the personal trainer is looking at you like, can't believe you eat that. Look at that scale. Look at how heavy you are. You're lazy. All the things that might be true, but we don't want that said to us, right? We want a personal trainer who's like, hey, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. This is where you're at. This is where you want to be. Let's put the plan together and get you there. You game, I'm game. Let's go, right? I'll get you there, and giving them hope that it's a possibility for them, right? How much better of a conversation? So why, again, I go back to why do we throw up on them? Why do we pour gasoline on them, right? When we already know what the psychology of buying is. Okay, so starting the right way, we're going to lock in that goal. We're going to get them locked in on their goal. I mean, even more specifically, getting them locked in their goal, because sometimes they are not clear yet of even what the goal is. We're going to help them get clear. We're going to give them that space, allow them to dream. So let's look at what that looks like. I call this the goal-based consulting framework. So I'm going to enlarge my screen here. This is the system, if you will. So step one, I like to say, define the goal. And then step two, we want to lock in their time frame, their timeline. When do they want it? Identify the why. Like, why do you want this? Really, why do you want this? Map the gap and present the plan and timeline. So it's 5 steps in the goal-based consultation framework. Super, super easy. I think you'll find that. I'm going to go through this step by step so you get this clearly laid out for you. So we're going to go first with define the goal. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, define the goal. Step number 1. What are you trying to accomplish? This is where we're asking those questions. The very first question that should come out of your mouth on any consultation is, hey, what's your goal? What's your goal? What are you trying to do? What do you want to do? What do you want in your life? That should be the first, not let's pull your credit report. We want to let them talk and let them dream. Let them have free, open space. Invite them into this quiet time, just you and them, where they get to explore what their actual goal is. That's the first step. This might be the most time-consuming part of the process. This is where you're building rapport. This is where you're helping them know that they have hope to get to their goal. Okay, it's a really important part of the process. You also get a lot of information here on how you can best help them. As I've always said, if you're going to do this job and someone's going to pay you and they want to buy a home, best you get them there to keep your job. You know, you get known for being able to get them to that other side, to the promised land. You won't ever have to worry about your job, right? But you fail to do that, and you're going to be worrying about your job every step of the way, and you're going to be the turn and burn, right? Get the client, they leave because they didn't get their goal, right? Turn and burn, and that is a complete exhausting job, right? So step number 1, define the goal, really define it. Step number 2, the timeline. When do you want this done? This is important because if they say, yeah, you know what, my goal is to buy a house, but not in a real hurry. Matter of fact, I really like living with my parents right now. I'm trying to save up money. I just got my job and I just got out of college, but I know that I want to buy a house and I want to set myself up for that, but it's probably like 2 years out. That's important information for us, right? That's really important information. So we can take our role as how do we help them set themselves up in the next 2 years? Fair? If they say tomorrow, then we also have a good conversation with, wow, you are excited about this and I'm excited to feel your energy. And then we can kind of give them, hey, we can do this, but not tomorrow, right? So you can help them have realistic expectations. So timeline is really important. So step 2 is timeline. Step 3 is my favorite. It's why. Why does it matter? Because the why is the strongest pulling factor for anyone in order to get to their goal. People will have motivation to get to a goal for a while, and then when it gets hard, then motivation is fleeting, right? We lose motivation, right? We all been there. But if we have a really strong why, it doesn't matter what comes in our way. We will fight over that if we know that we can. If we have hope that we can, we will do it, right? If we have a big enough why. And so here's where you dive into their why and you help them develop it into a stronger and stronger why, right? So example, the guy who told me that he wanted to buy a house and needed to do this for his family because he felt like a loser of a father, a loser of a husband, a loser of a man. That was his why. I helped him dive into what that why was. He wasn't going to share that to me, right? I helped him dive into that why, and then we explored that why even further. Okay, why? You don't feel like a man. So buying this home is going to help you feel better in that respect? Yeah, why? Right? And so we can define that, and then it became more than just buying the house. It became, I need to have a good financial foundation. I want to feel responsible. I want to feel like I have everything under control. And buying a home was the outcome that he felt like if I do this, then all of this is put together. So we got to really dive into the fact that it wasn't just the house. It was being responsible in all areas. So guess what? He worked with me longer than just buying a home, right? So I became his trusted advisor. I'm going to help you get this whole foundation set up because I knew the why. I know we dived in deep into the why. Super important part of the process. Please don't skip over that. You need that why. They need that why. It's the anchor. It's the thing that's going to pull them forward. It's the thing that's going to push them when things get hard, right? And then if you've defined this really well, then you don't have to go and start chasing that client for engagement. Their why is going to push them into engagement with you. And the only thing you do is you're the support person, you're the encourager, you're the cheerleader, you're the one that reminds them of what their why is, because sometimes people forget. You remind them. But the why, if you do this with them, they do all the work. They do all the work if you do this with them. So step 3, please don't skip that. Super important step. Okay, moving into step 4. All the steps are important. Step 4 is map the gap. We got to see, here's your current state. Here's where you're at. Here's where you want to be. What's keeping you from being here? And that's the journey that you're presenting to the client. That's the plan. You're going to put the plan together that fills that gap, bridges that gap, gets them to the other side. Now they're in their promised land, right? And if you get really good at it, then you get to keep your job. You get to scale. You get to grow. You get known for it, right? You get really good at this. So map the gap, find the solution for the gap. So that is step 4. And then step 5, we're going to present the plan in the timeline. So we don't always know and can predict a timeline, but we can at least give a good idea. Hopefully as time goes on, you're going to get better and better at figuring out what that timeline might be. But you're going to present that plan. Sometimes the timeline is not real obvious, or we know that a lot of the things that need to be done, the consumer has to do it. So the time frame is really dependent on them getting the things done. So one of my little tricks, I'll give you this little tip. When a person asks me how long is this going to take, I'll say, hey, listen, I'm going to create the plan for you and I'm going to send that over to you. I want you to take an honest look at the plan that I give you and report back to me how long it's going to take you. And then we'll know. Again, putting that on them, because truly the effort is going to have to come from them. Think about that. The effort's going to have to come from them. I don't care if you are a master dispute person and you can get all the negatives off the credit report. That doesn't mean they're getting to their goal. Unless the goal was just to get all the negatives off the credit report, which I highly doubt, because that's not what they wouldn't sleep at night, because they don't care about it. Actually, if they could have bought the home with all the negatives on the credit report, guess what they would do? Buy the home with all the negatives on the credit report, right? So let's be real here. They're going to have to do the work. And so present the plan. Ask them to take an honest look at it. How long do they believe it take to get done with the plan? That's their answer. Okay. You can help them. You can push them. You can get that timeline lower by helping them move through that plan. Okay. So that's step 5. So here's the positioning shift that I'm inviting you to, is you go from a vendor, the dispute person, one that throws up on you and tells you all the bad stuff you ever did in your life, right? The personal trainer who tells you you're fat. Or you can be the advisor who helps them become the decision maker, and they actually help themselves. And you're just like a personal trainer. You're there to support them, answer their questions, cheerlead them on. You don't have to do all the work. You're not chasing engagement, because you've built this foundation for them already, that they have a strong enough why. They got the plan. They know the gap. They know the plan will get them to their promised land, and they're just going to execute. That's what I'm inviting you to deliver to your clients. Then you become no longer just optional. You become essential. And if you are like me and you become their trusted advisor, years from now, they're still with you. They're still on your credit monitoring. They're still engaged in your action plans. Every single month, they just want it. They just want it. They just want it. They want it from you. And then when they want to buy a car or they want to get another credit card, they're going to reach out to you before they make that decision, because they want to make sure they're making the right decisions, because they trust you as their advisor. And they love it. It's an ego thing too. And they can say, man, I have my own financial advisor. I have my own credit advisor. I've had her for 10 years. They love it. They talk about you. Guess what? You get more referrals. That's how it works. That's how it works. So that's my invitation to you, is go from being a vendor to an advisor who helps the person be the decision maker. Empower them. Empower them. All right. So I want to invite you again, not just to be that vendor and to be that advisor for the consumer. But I invite you to check into Level Up Score. Level Up Score was designed for this. It actually does the work for you. So now you get the plan delivered to the client within seconds, and you didn't have to do that work. You didn't have to figure all the things out. And I know you know how to do it, okay? But this is already done for you. The client goes in automatically. I can show you how you can automate the entire process. Client goes in automatically. They get their action plan automatically, and then you are there to help support them. I can show you how to do this on one of my strategy calls. I do strategy calls every Monday and Wednesday. I'll have a strategy call this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Guys, get on it. I don't care if you've been doing credit for 20 years. Get on this call, because I pour into you, and I'll pour into you on how I grew and scale 4 credit repair business. And I'll show you how you can do the same. I don't recommend you have 4, but I'll certainly show you how to take the one you have or the one you're trying to start and to make that a really great business for you and for the people who come to you. You will be the true success bosses, the ones that are out there really helping people, and you'll make a good living. So I encourage you to be on that strategy call. Again, that's tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. A lot of people try to come on Monday at 2 o'clock, so they're an hour late for that strategy call. So make sure you're on at 5 p.m. Eastern time. In the beginning of the strategy call, I'm going to call on everybody that's there, and I'm going to ask you, what do you need from me? And that's what I'm going to deliver on that call. So please be there, 5 p.m. That QR code will allow you to register. If you're unable to scan this QR code right now, you can put in the chats, strategy call. We'll send you that link. You can DM me, strategy call. You can email me. I get them in all different ways. We'll make sure you're on that strategy call and give you that invite. But I invite you to be there. I think you'll find a lot of value in it for your business. But thank you for being here for Tuesday Top Tips. Let's be goal strategists, not fixers. Let's be in first place, not third place. I appreciate you all. Have an amazing day.